I really appreciate you joining me, and these are some updates and breaking news coming from London. This is the Scarcity Studios YouTube channel. Please don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe. This first story, thank you to Dave Nathan of UK News and Pictures for the coverage from the scene, and it's in regard to the murder of a man in Brixton. He has only been identified by his nickname, which was Kyze, and he was associated to a group called 6-7, which is from the Brixton area. They're a very popular music group, and they've also got associations, the police say, to gang culture in the local area. The incident occurred on September the 8th at 10 to 9 in the evening on Forster Road in Brixton, when police were called to the reports of a double shooting. Emergency services, including the ambulance service and air ambulance, responded and treated 2 individuals at the scene. Sadly, Kyze, also known as Wiz, passed away shortly after. The investigation is ongoing with a large crime scene in place, and the second victim suffered injuries that are not believed to be life-threatening. The group 6-7 are a prominent Brixton-based drill group, known for their influence throughout the UK drill scene since 2014. The murder scene on Forster Road shows forensics on a housing estate and a lot of different bits of evidence scattered around, photographs being taken. There are even trainers in the street that shows people may have ran away very quickly. The markers in the street may signify other evidence such as bullet casings or evidence about the victim. The forensics covered a large proportion of the estate, and there was spending a lot of time there, and we'll definitely keep you updated on anything to do with this story. It's very early days. The victim hasn't been formally identified by the police, but his family are being supported by specially trained police. So I want to send my condolences to the family of Kyze, and we're definitely going to keep you updated on any developments with this story. In some other news coming from London, this story comes from East London in Gants Hill. Some of you may remember on the 22nd of August there was an arson attack on a restaurant and several people were injured. This occurred at 9 PM and there were 6 victims, 3 women and 3 men were injured. 2 of them, a man and a woman, remain in hospital with life-changing injuries. The latest update in this story is that a 16-year-old boy has been charged with attempted murder after the suspected arson attack which occurred on a restaurant. A 56-year-old man was arrested on suspicion of arson with intent to endanger life on the 24th of August, but he was later released. 2 16-year-old boys were arrested on Friday the 5th of September on suspicion of arson with intent to endanger life. They were later released on bail. A further 16-year-old boy was arrested on the 6th of September, and the following day he was charged with 6 counts of attempted murder and conspiracy to commit arson with intent. He appeared at Croydon Magistrates Court on the 8th of September and was remanded to a youth detention centre. He will appear at the Old Bailey on the 6th of October. Thank you to UK News and Pictures for their coverage from the scene that shows the devastation, and also people standing outside and the forensic officers investigating. Thankfully nobody has died, but the 2 victims that are in a serious condition. At this moment in time it's hard to say how badly it is and if it could deteriorate any further, but at this moment it's an attempted murder charge for a teenage boy. This next story is also a follow-up to a murder that took place in Tottenham. On the 24th of August at 7:30 in the morning, Cheryl Wilkins was found unresponsive on the High Road in Tottenham at the back of B&M stores. She was sadly pronounced dead at the scene and a police investigation was launched. A man called Simon Levi, 40 years old, was arrested on Thursday the 4th of September. While he was in custody, he was further arrested on suspicion of 2 counts of rape, grievous bodily harm and intentional strangulation relating to another victim. The victim, who was a woman aged 35 years old, is currently receiving support from specialist police. And the second arrest is in relation to the incident that also took place on the High Road on the 25th of January 2025. Levi has been charged with all of these offences as well as the murder of Cheryl Wilkins. Detectives are continuing to appeal for help as the investigation continues. Levi will appear at the Old Bailey on the 10th of September. And thank you to UK News and Pictures for their coverage from the scene that shows the cordon in the car park at the back of B&M on the High Road in Tottenham. There was a tent erected, and this, I believe, is where they found her body. But how bizarre that they then were able to ascertain that he was responsible potentially for a second violent attack that took place months earlier on the same road. Due to the fact that there will be a trial that will take place now, we'll no longer be able to discuss this story until the trial is complete. But I want to send my condolences to the family of Cheryl and also the other victim who suffered such horrendous injuries. This next story is also a follow-up to a murder that we covered last year in 2024. 6 people have now been sentenced to a combined total of 167 years for the fatal shooting in West London. Following an investigation by the Met Police, 5 men and a teenage boy were sentenced on the 5th of September 2025 at the Old Bailey. They were all convicted of the murder of 21-year-old Geneo Lusima, who was killed by a single bullet when he opened the front door of his home in West Kensington. In court, the killing was described as a planned and organised execution and believed to be linked to a dispute over drugs. Following the murder, several of the defendants fled the country to avoid arrest, and they have all been returned to the UK and will now face justice. Police were called shortly after 10:15 in the evening on Monday the 1st of April 2024 to reports of a shooting. On arrival, police found Geneo on his doorstep and it was evident he'd been shot. Despite the best efforts of emergency services, he sadly died at the scene. A murder investigation was immediately launched, and using CCTV and forensic analysis from the scene, officers quickly identified the suspects that was involved. Over the following months that followed, they worked diligently to track them down after they fled the country and extradite them back to the UK. The shooting had been strategically planned by the defendants, who all had set roles to play in the incident. The court heard how 2 of them, Mohammed Mansoureh and Kudar Al-Gurdi, were key in the events that unfolded that night. CCTV showed 5 of the defendants meeting at Fabian Road in Fulham on the evening of the murder. Mansoureh, who was the shooter, was seen flashing a gun at his peers as they waited for a signal from Al-Kurdi, who was going to provide the address of where the victim lived. Al-Kurdi was at home as the incident unfolded. However, phone records showed that he was in contact with Geneo and he pretended to set up a drug deal, and this was in an attempt to find out his location. Once Al-Kurdi got the address, he passed it on to his friends who was waiting on Fabian Road. They changed their clothes and made their way to Comara Road, where they was on CCTV concealing the weapon, and also caught Mansoureh positioning himself outside the house where Geneo was located, and he was also practicing raising the gun before the shooting. Al-Kurdi phoned Geneo, and less than a minute later he stepped outside and was fatally shot dead by Mansoureh. The 5 offenders fled the scene, with some of them throwing away the weapons they'd been carrying that included knives, and this led to forensic connections from their weapons to themselves and also helped with the conviction. Out of the 6, 5 left the country after the murder in a bid to try to evade capture. Police quickly located them and extradited them from Morocco, and all 6 were convicted at the Old Bailey on July the 15th this year. This week they have all been sentenced. Kudar Al-Kurdi, 23 years old, from Fulham, arrested on the 6th of April 2024, and he has been jailed for a minimum of 33 years. Mukhtar Saeed, 24 years old, from West Kensington, travelled to Scotland days after the murder on the 6th of April 2024. He has been jailed for 29 years. Mohammed Mansoureh, the shooter, from Gants Hill, also travelled to Scotland after the murder, and he was sentenced to a minimum of 27 years. A 17-year-old boy from southwest London, extradited from Spain, arrived back in the UK and was arrested on the 7th of June 2024. He has been jailed for a minimum of 22 years. Issa Siteri, 19 years old, from Chelsea, arrived back in the UK from Morocco on the 8th of June 2024 and was arrested. He has been jailed for 28 years in prison. Yusuf Abdi, 19 years old, from Westbourne Green, also arrived back in the UK from Morocco on the 8th of June and was also arrested and has been jailed for 28.5 years minimum. The jury could not reach a verdict on another man and a teenage boy that were charged, and they will be retried in 2026. Geneo's mum, Winifred Ayo, said in a victim statement that she misses her son and she thinks about him all the time. I miss his hugs, I miss his smile, I miss his laughs, I miss his perfect smile. Geneo taught his dad and I to look at the world afresh, from a child's point of view, to love and care deeply for every person and to accept, trust and believe in goodness in every human being. No matter what the difference, Geneo was full of dreams, but this was heartlessly taken away by a group of self-centred young men. No amount of sentence will ever bring Janeo back, but I hope one day that his killers will find it in their heart to give me the reason why they went to such great lengths to kill him. I will never be at peace and will always be searching for the real reason. So I want to send my condolences to the family of Janeo, and as his mother said, these young men have thrown their lives away and she still doesn't have the answers that she believes that she needed. So really appreciate you joining me for these updates. I'll be back again very shortly with some more news. Please don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe, and follow on social media at Scarcity Studios, and email your stories to scarcitystudios@gmail.com. Peace.